Welcome, everyone, to the Holstein House Podcast. I'm the West Virginia woman, Robin, of RobinHolstein.com and Holstein House, where my guests get a great night's sleep at a fair rate plus breakfast. This is a podcast that looks at society and culture issues affecting families in West Virginia and the United States, from food preparation and storage, gardening, home repairs, current events, and more. We'll go around the table and back in 60 minutes or less. So let's hang out and talk a while. Good morning, all y'all. I don't have all my lights working. Always something. Always something. How are you this morning? It is Tuesday, September the 12th, 2023. And this is episode 95 of the Holstein House Broadcast. Answering questions on hosting a B&B from your home or an offsite, fall and winter food preparations for your pantry, your storage questions, and more. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about hosting your B&B and things that you need to start considering replacing before the end of the year for tax purposes, things you might consider when building your preparedness stores, your pantry and your emergency supplies in case you have a guest when an emergency arises. Talk a little bit about the doghouse roof and a side project that, like I needed another project, but something that I come across and I thought, I want one of those. And I can't give the exact thing, but I may be able to get close, and I'll share a picture of that with you in a little bit. But if you are here, be sure. Hey, Ronaldo, I haven't seen you in ages. I am so glad to see you. So glad to see you. I had a live yesterday evening, and it wasn't scheduled, and it was just kind of a impromptu. Hey, I'm just going to hang out here for a little while. And I thought about trying to tag you in something, and then I got to looking at the time. I thought, no, I think it's about midnight or 1 o'clock over there, so I don't want to do that. But I am glad to see you. It's been a long time. It's been a long time for sure. So if you're out there, whether you're on Rumble or you're on YouTube or you're on the Facebook page, please put in the comments a hello so that I know that you're there and I can say hello back to you. And if you haven't already, please do the whatever version of like is on the platform you're looking at, whether it's the little thumbs up, whether it's a star, whether it's a let me see what they do over here. It's a thumbs up on Rumble as well. So, hit that. Let's poke those algorithms a little bit. I hate to ask for that right off the bat. So I hope you had, in the United States yesterday, it was September the 11th, and we got to take time to remember the attacks on New York and Pennsylvania and Washington, D.C. And I was when it happened, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about it because yesterday everybody talked about it. But I know that morning I had already called off work before it all happened, because the morning of September 11th, 2001, my mother called me about 7 o'clock or so and said, did you get the car? And I said, what do you mean, did I get the car? Because she was buying my old Ford Escort. And she was making the payments. She was paying it off, making the payments. She said, did you come and get the car? I said, no. She said, well, it's gone. I said, what do you mean it's gone? She said, well, it's not out here. And so what happened was, because mom and dad didn't lock their vehicles and they left the keys in them half the time, somebody came through and hopped in the car and took it four-wheeling out on a coal strip mine, and trashed it and left it there. I guess they walked off from it because I don't know how they got back, but it took weeks to find the car. And then dad tried to fix it and it was never the same. So he ended up having to get her another vehicle. But so I had already called off because mom was tore up. We were calling the police, and she I mean, she had no way of knowing. I went over and talked to them, talked with the police because my name was on the title, and come back home, and it was just a few minutes before 9, and kicked the news on, and was watching Fox News, which at the time was the better option in our household. And saw the second plane hit, because when I came in, the first plane had already hit, and I was trying to digest what I was looking at. And they said, we don't know if this is an accident. It looks like an accident. It's terrible. And I thought, well, that's not right. I think that a lot. That's not right. That was an airliner that hit that? There's no way that, what, did the pilot pass out or something? Because your brain starts trying to process that. Then the live shot that they had at that point, you saw that second plane hit. And I immediately said, this is an attack. I mean, not like millions of other people who were watching it. This is an attack. And then just everything changed after that. So that's my really unexciting September 11th, 2001 story. I hate using the shortcut 9/11. We don't do that for Pearl Harbor Day. We don't shortcut that. It's just so lazy. But I know everybody does it. I just think it's lazy. But that's my story. And, so many people did spend a lot of time talking about it yesterday. You feel free to share your stories in the comments. I'll touch on them. It's okay. I don't have a problem with that. I just wanted to kind of touch on it, that I didn't forget it. But I wasn't planning to spend a tremendous amount of time on it. So this morning we are going to talk a little bit about the B&B. When you have a bed and breakfast, you've got your calendar, and you have your guests that are coming to stay. Have you considered what happens if let's say that September the 11th, 2001, you had your calendar booked with guests. For me, that's only 2 guests. At the present, it's only 2 guests. So it wouldn't be a tremendous issue. But let's say that happened and your guests are stranded. Are you prepared in any way, small or large, are you prepared in any way to handle having guests stranded at your B&B? This can be in the form of food. Do you have enough food to share with your guests for, let's say, a week? Let's say there's a storm, some sort of storm, and recently we had a microburst here that it didn't stop anyone from getting in and out of here at our place, but it could very well have. Let's say that there's a storm that washes out the main access road to your property where your B&B is. Whether you're an at-home host or if you have a facility, a beach house or a camp or something far and away, and guests get stranded there, do you have a plan in place to help your guests? One of the things you have to consider is the types of food that you offer and the types of food you have put away. I do not generally share with any of my guests any of my information on my pantry. They may know that I have one because I'm canning or I'm dehydrating, and I talk a little bit about it. They don't get a tour. I don't talk about how much of anything that I have. I really don't even hear, because I never know who might, in reality, anyone that has access to any of these videos can access the fact that I have a pantry. And having a B&B, people are coming here anyway. And I've got, advertisements out, and I've got information out, and word of mouth is out. And I'm obviously on social media, and I have a calendar, and I have a website, and all those things. So people, where I live is not a secret. But if there was a some sort of disaster or some kind of weather issue. Let's say I had a young man here. It was a couple winters ago. It was after the Rona, but it wasn't last winter. And we had a cold rain and then a freeze and then some snow from the period of time in the 12 hours after he got here and where he was getting ready to leave. And the car windows and doors, or not the windows, but the doors were frozen shut. And he was in a panic. He wasn't a infant. I mean, he wasn't like 18 or 19 years old. He was in his mid 20s. But he was like, I can't, my doors are frozen. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I very calmly came down. I have a hair dryer just for such purposes. Or you could use a heat gun, but I'm afraid of heat guns. They get hotter than a hair dryer. And an extension cord. And I handed it to him. I said, here you go. And he said, what? I said, turn the hair dryer on, heat your doors until enough ice melts that you can open your door. And he was just dumbfounded. He'd never thought of such a thing. And now, luckily, we had power. But one of my guests arrived. We had a storm. It shouldn't have been a bad storm. But what happened is a tree limb come down on one of the power lines that powers our part of the community. And so we were without power for like 2 hours before he got here. And I'm out on the front porch thinking, this house is really hot when there's no air conditioning. And I can't turn the air conditioning on in his room to cool the room down. I did have the windows open in the house so that I could get the breezes through. And of course, the power company will tell you, oh, it's going to be 6 hours or more before we get your power back on. And they do that because, first off, they have no idea what's causing the outage. There may be a line down over here, but they may not know about another line that's down over here because nobody's been able to call it in yet. So they give these outrageously long predictions on when the power will be back on. And so you're in a minor panic unless you have a generator or something, which we have one. It's not connected and I haven't been shown how to use it yet, which I keep trying to get resolved. But I may end up going and getting a little one that I can manage on my own. A solar one. I know a solar one's not all that strong, but enough to keep the refrigerators and the freezers and stuff, cycled through to keep them cool. But so I don't lose any refrigerator or frozen foods, and run a box fan or something. But I'm sitting on the porch and he pulls in and I said, the power's out. I have no idea how long it's going to be. And, I know it's on, in this other part of the community. So you can go get something to eat over there. You can get dinner, which I don't provide dinner anyway. But if it's off very much longer, I'll see that your money's refunded. And, he said, well, we'll wait and see. So because he wanted to rest, he'd been driving quite a while. And then he had gone out to get dinner and then came back and the power was on when he got back. So it was a blessing. But had the power been off, that's an easy fix. If it's not a large community, like when the derecho came through a few years ago, I think it was 2014, the derecho came through and just gigantic swaths of West Virginia was without power for, I think it was about 10 days. And if it's a situation like that, they don't have a lot of options. They can't go to a hotel because the hotel didn't have power either. But, what plans do you have in place? Do you have a plan for that? If it's a situation where you're not going to be able to get out for a while, if you're in a location where a major access road or bridge has been washed out or has like they had in Ohio when the railroad tanker wrecked and all of that contamination and the folks couldn't get out. I'm not talking about that your place has to be evacuated. I'm talking about if you can't leave your area, do you have food enough and supplies enough to take care of your guests. These are things that you need to consider, and we may do a couple of little series on coming up. Now, September is National Preparedness Month. I'm not real good at, I won't say preparing, I'm okay with preparing, but, theming up and getting ahead on these videos and things, just the nature of things that are going on around me. But I'm going to work on a couple of videos for preparing for emergencies for your guests. What if your guest falls and gets hurt? How do you take care of your guest till emergency services come? And if your guest has an emergency issue, what do you do with their stuff? Your guest, let's say your guest falls and breaks a leg. It's a compound fracture, so they're in the hospital for a while. All of their stuff is still in your place. You've got to be able to, especially if you have other guests coming, you've got to be able to, put their things away and secure them, because if something happens to them while they're in your custody, you could be held liable. So these are some things that you want to think about when it comes to that. And food, do you have enough food in your pantry, in your emergency supplies to take care? Do you have some basic first aid, or a little beyond basic first aid, more than just some Neosporin and bandages? Do you have a couple wraps that you can use as a splint or a sling or something, in case you can't get emergency services to your location? These are things that we all need to think about, not just if we have our B&Bs, but as responsible adults. Do we have an emergency kit of some sort that we can find? I have all the parts and pieces scattered, but I do need to consolidate them into a real kit of some sort, whether it's a large tote, and I'm getting so tired of totes. I've got totes everywhere, but they are handy. You can see through most of them. If you get those, you can see through them. You know what's in there, and they're reasonably waterproof and pest resistant. So they are good. But do you have things to help in case of a disaster, and in case you have guests during a disaster? Another thing I wanted to talk to you about this morning is it's coming up on the last part of the year. Obviously, September, middle September, we're looking at facing the last quarter of the year. We need to be considering our taxes. If you're like me, you do have your company registered, you do pay taxes, and so things that you buy for your B&B are tax deductible. Depending on what they are, there's a percentage of them. I do have someone that helps with our taxes, because I have more than one iron in the fire. And I do keep my receipts and send off to the CPA for those things. But some of the things you want to consider, and remember, it's not necessarily that they're past their use, but some things are considered expendable. Some things depreciate in value. And so you want to keep records of the things that you purchase for your B&B. Now, I don't buy a lot of stuff because we are so small that usually, if I'm buying cereal, I'm not deducting a box of cereal just because I have some of it sitting out in a container for my guests. And there's a thing about whether you're using it for your personal use too, that it gets all kind of complicated. But I do purchase by the case the little small cereal boxes. You used to be able to get them in the store. Most of the time now you get those plastic foily things now, but you can find the boxes still. They're not the great cereals. They're like the Fruit Loops. They're shredded mini wheats. They're Rice Krispies or Frosted Flakes, But I can buy those and keep 2 boxes of each out. And I have a place that I keep them out for the guests so that they can have cereal if they choose. If they're obviously sealed, they last a long time, and they would be deductible because we're not eating them. They're bought. I purchased them for our guests. They don't go through them very quickly, but when they do, you have to stop and think, is it time to purchase those now? Ideally, it's a game. I mean, you want to take advantage of your tax deductions that you are legally eligible to take, and so that you have to purchase things before the end of the year. Well, eventually you're gonna have to purchase something later in the following year. So it's a juggling game of, how can I maximize, the tax deductions for the year. I'll be purchasing those again, the cereals that I was just discussing, in the next couple weeks. I've got a list started on Amazon and in Walmart's app, so that I can keep track of, what I'm going to order. So I'll be ordering those. I'll be ordering another set of sheets. Now I just have the one bed, so I did purchase a set of sheets last year. I'll order another set of sheets. I order sheets once a year. The sheets I do donate sheets to Goodwill. I don't have the kind of turnover a hotel would have, so they don't really get used that much. I mean, if I've got, I don't have 365 nights worth of guests, and that's by design. I don't need to have a lot of other stuff going on. But let's say if I have a guest a couple times a month or a couple times a week, you're talking, 100 and what, 104, 108 nights, the guests are on there. So they're not getting used that much, but they are a commodity that depreciates, and I do want those replaced frequently. And sometimes they don't hold up. I've had some that I go to put the bottom sheet on and the elastic snaps. So I try to keep 3 sets of sheets on hand specifically for the guest room. I do not use these, of course, they're different size mattresses, but I do not use the sheets for the guests on anything else. I keep the plastic zippered container they come in. After I launder them, I fold them back and put them in those containers. I keep those isolated just for the guests. And I keep 4 sets on hand all the time. 1 on the bed, probably 1 in the laundry, and 2 on the shelf. That way, if the one on the bed, or whenever I change the sheets out and turn the room, if those sheets are ruined, let's say somebody spills makeup, and I've had that. I've had nail polish where somebody just either polished their nails when they got here or had freshly polished nails when they got here. I've had nail polish on sheets and it ruins them. So you need a sheet to be a set in the wash, a set on the bed, a set in the shelf ready to go, and then an extra for when your guests eventually ruin a set that's on the bed. Oh, good morning, Mike, the Philippine nomad in the Philippines. I had to apologize to him. It's terrible because I know the Philippines are in the Pacific. I know this. But when I was mentioning the storms the other day, I had it in my head that he was in Puerto Rico. I don't know why. I do know the difference. And so I issued a little apology to him because I kept saying, "Are you worried about the storms?" And I'm thinking, the hurricane that was rolling up the East Coast, and I know the Philippines are on the other side. So just a Mitch McConnell moment, you might say. Oh, no, that would be a Biden moment, because Mitch McConnell just kind of stops and stares. Not to get into a bunch of that, but the man has a neurological issue. He just does. I saw someone say maybe he's dirtying his adult diaper. I wouldn't go that far. If you've had children in diapers before, they get this expression when they're using the bathroom before they're potty trained, and it was very similar to that expression. But I don't want to go down that this morning. Oh, Jesse Howie over on Rumble. Good morning. See, this is what I have to do is I have to focus on what I'm saying and not get distracted. But then I want to check in and make sure I catch everybody and say hello. And sometimes I'm slow about doing that on top of the delays that we have. But let me get back to this real quick for a little while. I'll be ordering the cereal boxes. I'll be ordering a new set of sheets. I use a pop-up hand towel. It's it's almost really like a paper towel that you get in the rolls, except it's a little more fancier, so that your guests don't feel like you just threw a roll of paper towels in the bathroom for them to use. Because in the bathroom, when we have guests, I do not use cloth towels. The guests have separate towels that they use that gets laundered separately from everything. Our bath towels are not guest towels. We don't interchange those. And so at the bathroom sink, I should have brought a box of those over here. I never think to do this. It's too much on my own that I'm trying to do. I have their Kleenex. Let me see if I can pull those up with Amazon real quick. A lot of the stuff I get from Amazon. And these are Kleenex brand hand towels. They are in, let me see, orders. Oh, here. Oops, shoot. They are in an oddly shaped box, which makes them a challenge. They're kind of designed for the box to sit skinny end down in a towel rack. Let me see if I can get this shared. Let me present, share screen. Here we go. So hopefully what you can see here is this. These are the hand towels. And I buy them by the case, which you're going to see here. They're ideally set to go this way. And hopefully you're seeing that. No, can you see that? Is it sharing? It's not sharing, is it? It is not sharing. Oh, yeah, it is. Here I am poking around, but let me see if I can make this full screen. There we go. That should help. So let me start over. This is what I'm purchasing for our restroom when we have guests. This is what I use when we have guests. I've tried a couple other brands. I don't really like them. They're hard to find too. I can sometimes find these single purchase at Kroger. Usually what I'm doing is buying these by the case at Amazon. So there's 6 boxes in the case. They're designed to go in this. Let's see if I can go like this on your hand towel rack. Now my hand towel rack is not shaped that way. It's an odd little shape, so this box doesn't sit there. So I set them upright. See, like this. I set them upright. And so they pop up and the guests get a clean hand towel. And the waste can that I have in the restroom, this is this is not my bathroom, obviously, but this is kind of the setup I have, is that they're sitting at the sink up like that. So I have the waste can in the restroom is one of those step on with the lid so that you don't have to touch the lid. And so they can step on that and drop the towel in so that I don't have the hand towel issue and the passing of germs between people while I have guests here. And you can see the price on those is $18.04. Let me get back to just me. So I use that. Philippine Nomad says, I now use my sister's forwarding address in California for U.S. purchases and repack and reship to the Philippines. we had that conversation. Yeah, that's a smart thing to do when you have family to do that. What's your Etsy link for Holstein House swag? He found it. It's down in the description. What will happen if I try to pop the Etsy link open right now is it will tell me there's too many what is it? Too many references, too many forwards, or too many something. And the reason for that is because I have a VPN. And so the VPN obviously masks and it bounces this thing. What I have to do to get to show on live on screen is I have to use my phone as a hotspot, log my laptop into the hotspot, and then go to Etsy. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. But I finally figured, it took me a long time to figure out why these things were happening, because I could be, doing it, going to Etsy with my phone, and it was fine. And that's what it ended up being. Etsy does not like. I actually have some new ideas for some shirts and stuff, Mike, that I'm not sure if you'll like them, but I have, I'm doing a workshop tomorrow on canning. I was going to get to that here in a minute. Just a discussion on canning. It's not a demonstration or anything. And I've got, I was doing some research on the history and all that stuff and some things. And there are a lot of canning related U.S. government propaganda images out there. And of course, being the U.S. government, we can poke around and mess around with those. And, you see, it's like, let me see. I might be able to share one here with you. I don't know if I can get to it really easy. I hate to keep bouncing you guys around. Let's see. Let me try and see if I can get it popped open here. I have I saved a bunch of them to update my swag over on Etsy. And it's going to take me a minute because I have them dropped in a folder of stuff that I was working on for the workshop. And so trying to find them again is going to be a challenge. I don't think, no, it's not showing that. I'll have to share that. Images. I shouldn't use Google, but, it's just too easy. They just made it too easy. So I want to find one. Some of these are just hysterical. There was one, I didn't see one. No, I don't have one for Puerto Rico or the Philippines or any of the little islands, except I have one for, where is it? Australia. Let me see if I can share that with you. Let's see. Oh, I want to share this. Darn it. This is what I get for trying to do all this on my own. Share this tab. Let me see if you can see that. So what you see there is this is actually a U.S. government image that I came across when doing some research on, and it's hard to imagine why this was. Well, so I was on a site that had some of the World War I and World War II propaganda posters, encouraging people to can and grow their victory gardens and stuff. And this was just part of that whole package. Obviously, this guy is not canning and food preservation related, they're trying to tell the people of the United States that this man is your friend. What it is, for those of you guys that don't have video, it's an image that says this man is your friend, and it has a man in a in a cap or a hat, and it's kind of tipped sideways, and it says he fights for freedom. Now remember, this is in 1942, and then it's Australian. So they're trying to tell the United States citizens in 1942 that Australians are your friends. And there's more than one. There's one for a Chinese, but I'm not going to spend all day doing that. But what I was getting to is I have I don't know what I've got. What's the next one here? Oh, so I don't think I can make this full page without, just because it's showing you from my file folder. This is one that says milk and eggs are nature's food. Clean, covered, and cold will stay good. And so this is talking about how to properly use a refrigerator to store your food. And this is another one of those war posters that fight food waste in the home. So in 1942, we were going through a lot of the things that we're going through now, in that here we're going through more people voluntarily trying to make better choices of their food. Here in 1942, the government was trying to tell them, clean milk. I don't know what they mean by clean, unless they mean pasteurized, but clean milk will keep several days at 40 to 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't let milk stand at room temperature. It spoils quickly. And then it says, and for those of you who don't have video, it's in the left corner, it's got a picture of a lady either putting in or removing a bottle of milk from an old refrigerator. Well, I say old because it would have been new at the time, but then you have a picture of a giggly little baby in a high chair that would be highly dangerous by today's standards. And it says, has a little bubble on there that says milk, egg dishes, cool them quickly, cover them, keep them cold, and use them soon. So they're trying to encourage people to take care of their food. And then this next picture that you see is some folks working in a garden. Now, a lot of folks in the permaculture world today are trying to get away from this row garden that had become so popular. And so what you see here is a family of good night. Let's see. Mom, a kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids, probably dad, and maybe a teenage son. So it looks, no, wait, I missed a kid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 young children, probably elementary age, probably a teenage son. So that's 6. And dad is 7 and mom is 8. So it's a family of 8 putting in a little garden. And the caption says, you can use the land you have to grow the food you need. Imagine that. Imagine that. Someone stop sharing that right now. So, and get back to what we were talking about. There you go, you guys. Oh, sorry to see you go, Ronaldo. I'm glad you had to stop in, though. I know you're really busy. And that's a good busy, I hope. Whatever designs you have will be fine. I'll be picking gifts for my wife and sisters, etc. Design will be fine. I help with my wife's graphic skills. We'll be designing and selling some swag through Loco's hardcore production. Hey, you guys, we maybe, Mike, maybe we can work together on some better swag. Message me over in Telegram and let's see if you and your wife can go. And I'm more than happy to compensate you for it. I'm not asking for anything free there. So yeah, that's just that was all part of putting together the workshop for tomorrow, which I'm way behind on. But that all started with the conversation on the Kleenex pop-up towels. Refrigerator water filters. So we have filters in the refrigerator for the water that goes through it, that goes through the door and goes into the ice cubes. I'll be replacing those. I'll be ordering those as well. And air filters for the air conditioner. Should be putting in the last air filter that I have here in a couple of weeks, because I try to do that every quarter, every 3 weeks, every 3 months, and swap those out unless there's a reason something has happened and it needs swapped out before. But I need to take care of that soon, and you should too. Be sure and check. Now, I'll be replacing the air filter in the room air conditioner. Our HVAC is not, the ductwork is not that great, so the upstairs still gets very warm. The downstairs can be very cold, and the upstairs gets very warm. So there is an in-window AC unit for the guests in case they get too warm. And what I usually do is I have it on very low, or fan if it's cool. My headset's jumping around. So just so the air is circulated and the room is fresh. But I do need to change that that filter. I have purchased new filters to change those out. The air conditioner might not get used again between now and, we'll say, late April, early May. So, but it will be clean on startup, so I don't have to worry about that. I'll finish that up. We don't take the air conditioner out of the window. It's good to do that, but I can't heave that thing in and out, and it damages the windowsill for me to do that, so it stays put. And I do unplug it though. So begin thinking about the things that you need to be purchasing for your B&B that need to be replaced or need to be updated, or just need to be purchased before the end of the year that will help you out on your taxes. Hang on to your receipts. Make sure these are things that are specifically for your guests. If you have any questions about something, like if you bulk like we have in the bathroom, we have a touchless dispenser. It's a little battery powered. And it has an infrared light that if you move your hand under, then it dispenses 3-in-1 body wash is what it is. So anybody who, if you're at the sink, you don't have to touch it. You can just wash your hands and get your towel and throw it away. We use that too. So I share that with our CPA that, that's there for anybody who's coming in and out of the house. And she knows all the rules about. I don't know anything about taxes. This is like tax advice on how to. It's tax. It's not even really advice. It's, hey, if you're using these things, save your receipts. Make sure you buy them, get them to your CPA. Know the tax rules where you live. Because I'm not a CPA and I'm not a tax advisor, but these are the things that I do. Do you have anything going on with Quick Camp, or we don't have any? Well, we have a guest coming next week, or Airbnb guest coming next week, and then the week after. But we don't have anybody this weekend. General projects. Now, the doghouse, like I've said before. Mike says, on your Etsy tees, one of your designs refused to be silenced, doesn't have an XL size available. I can fix that real easy, Mike, since I found a pen, and make myself a note, as long as I don't lose my note. I'm notorious for losing notes. Cell size for refuse to be silenced. Can't post comments to some destination. Oh, that was me. It looks like a white shirt doesn't have XL size available, sold out. I'll have to check, Mike. I haven't updated stuff over there for a while, and as a matter of fact, I don't like the shirt that I have the round Holstein House logo on. I don't like the one that I got in my sample. I've never changed that. My fault, but I personally don't like it. It just is not a comfortable wear. It's a fabric that is designed to, it's like a sports fabric because it's designed to evaporate sweat. And I thought, oh, that'll be great, because big girl sweat. And I got mine. And the size of the logo is just terrible. And maybe if it was just on the pocket area, it would be better, but it just doesn't work for me. So, but I do need to do some work on that. And honestly, if if you and your wife would like, I will work with you guys. I love working with people. I really do. People I can trust to. I was talking to somebody yesterday about some work that I needed done, just general stuff and some general help that I need around here. And I said, I need someone I can trust to be here when they say they will, somebody I can trust to do stuff if I have to be gone with dad. And the person's hesitating. And I don't know. There's so few people because the person I'm going to need help sorting things out of the doghouse to go to the landfill, to go to donations and things that we need to keep, things that are ours that are valuable to us. I don't want just anybody coming in there helping me, because you don't know everyone's motivations. So it has to be someone I trust. Well, I trust this person, and I know that they're in a kind of a financial pickle, and a little cash here and there is always good, or at least I thought, but they're kind of hesitating on that. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But the doghouse, the roof is done. The young man came back yesterday and finished. Apparently there was an area around, there's a chimney. There was an area around the chimney that wasn't done properly. So the owner said, hey, get back here and fix this. The young man came back and fixed it. I didn't climb up there to check. I'm not climbing a ladder. Well, I do, but I'm not climbing that ladder. I'm not getting on that roof. But he got that taken care of. So now I need to be getting the, I say junk. I mean, that's in the eye of the beholder, just like weeds and flowers. But there's stuff that I need to get out of there and just turn it loose. There's things that I feel are valuable, but when I put out like for a yard sale, or I put a notice out that it's for sale, like on Facebook Market or wherever you do it, nobody's interested. Nobody's interested. Or they all want some kind of special consideration. And it's like, okay, no. I had some orange Tupperware containers that I put up for sale. And I said, it's pickup only. I'm not driving to all over Creation. Here's the cost. And there we go. So the most serious person to ask me about it wanted me to drive it 15 miles for this ridiculous price. And I say ridiculous. I set the price, so I knew it was low because I wanted to get rid of it. I'm not driving it. I've still got it. I'll get rid of it one way or another. But it's we have to consider people's time and as well as the use of their vehicle. So I'm trying to get better. Like if I have pizza delivered, which we don't do that much, but every now and again we do, I try to consider, the people who are delivering it are working for Grubhub or one of those places. And they may be coming out here. I may be the only stop they've got. So I'm thinking, okay, my time is worth X. Their time is worth Y. Y should never be more than X, or I should go get it myself. So, but they do have time in invested, and they do have their fuel costs. So, but that doesn't. I'm not paying you $25 an hour to deliver my pizza to me. It's not gonna. I'm sorry. But one of the I mentioned earlier that I had another project that I was thinking, like, I really need another project. And and I want to show this to you too. Which window do I have my, here we go. So I saw, this one isn't part of this. Oh, darn it. Wait a minute. So StreamYard can be so tricky. I don't need to share this one anymore. And it's tricky because when you're doing it yourself and you're trying to juggle all of this stuff, I want to present Share screen. Window. Here we go. So I saw this. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta go back to this. And oh darn, I closed the whole thing out. Anyway, so I saw this, and for you on the podcast, what you're seeing here is the bed of an old truck, probably a late 60s. My heart wants to say it's the bed of a 1956 Chevy truck, but I don't know that. I mean, there's no way for me to know that. I'm not a truck person. But this truck bed has the wheels and the axles has had a frame put under it to make it a trailer, and it has 4 posts on it, and it has a tin roof on it, and it has a sign hanging that says Farm Fresh, and there are dried flowers or fresh flower bouquets and stuff. It's being used as a display to sell fresh flowers on a farm or something. The original color of the metal would have been a yellow. It's been painted with red. It's of some sort, an orangish yellowish red. You see dents, you see scratches, you see rustic, you see rust. So there's scuffs of there's the yellow shining through the red. It's an old beat up piece of truck bed that's been made into a cart to haul around, or maybe it stays in one spot on a farm where somebody maybe grows these sunflowers. It's got beautiful sunflowers. It's gorgeous autumn looking harvest time flower themey thing. So I see this image and I save this image, and I guess in the real world that's wrong. You should never do that because I don't know whose picture this is, and they're not getting any money back from it. But I don't have any way of knowing whose picture it is. But I saw this picture and I thought, I want to do that. I want something that looks just like that. Fact of the matter is, I don't have access to a truck bed. I don't want access to a truck bed. I want to create one of these on a smaller scale for myself. So which direction am I going? I'm going this way. Okay, so what I did is I bought you see Betty's peeking at you back here in the background of this picture. I bought an 4x8 trailer, like you pull behind a truck just to haul stuff, that has the metal screening mesh on the bottom, so that if you poured water on it, it runs into the road. It's got 2x4s, probably 2x4x8s, because they don't hang off the ends. I'm trying to look at the picture, making a little bit of a wall on there. So what I want to do is I want to take this, I would put some paint on it to get it into the right colors. Some, paint the boards yellow and then top them with red, and then, sand back a little bit so you see the yellow underneath to give it the aged look. The frame of this one, for those of you who are on the podcast, you can't see, has been red. It's old, it's faded. That's okay. I could clear coat that, no problem. I would come back and paint these wheel wells here with some yellow and red, and scrape that off to make them look, old and beat up, which it kind of already is because it's an old beat up trailer. I can move this on my own. I did yesterday. I lifted it up by the tongue and I moved it out of the road. And so it's heavy, but I can still move it around. What I want to do is put posts, probably 4x8 posts in each corner, or maybe not quite the corner, maybe around the 2-foot mark where these, I know you can't see it on the podcast, but where these little pieces are, to put a roof across to mimic what we just saw in this picture, this roof here, on a smaller scale, on a thinner scale, on a lighter scale that I can put in place and take down as I need to. But then in the meantime, I can use this. Our church is going to have a thing on Columbus Day, a giveaway of some winter coats and hats and boots and things, and some gently used toys and games, working with a nonprofit organization. We're going to do that one day. And I thought, hey, we could do hay rides. This hitch over on this end here has, we have a riding lawnmower that has a thing that you can put a hitch on. And I think it's the right size. I had to ask Mr. Holstein. We didn't measure it. I just guessed. He thinks he has one that it'll fit. We could use the riding lawnmower to give hay rides to the kids that day. That would be fun. That would be fun. And then I could make a selfie station of sorts at Holstein House for Halloween or just any time for our guests, and put something here, some hay or whatever, and just have a little sign that says Holstein House and has a little because I have a few pieces of that roofing, the metal roofing that the guys left that was scrap that was going to go to the landfill or whatever they do with their scrap. I don't know if I have enough, but we'll see. We'll see. But that's my idea, is to turn this into something like that. We'll see if it works. Why? Because I just don't have enough stuff to do. I don't have enough stuff to do. Did you get your chocolate filled up, Mike? I've got coffee sitting here in my. It's getting cold in my unconventional. My family is unconventionally diverse cup. And I do have. I need to redo these. So these are. This is a tin enamel cup. Coated cup that I had made a design, and I talked about this before. I made a design for hip camp when I thought I was going to be able to do hip camp. I've taken that down off the Etsy store. Now you can't do that. I need to redo this to make it quick camp, because that's what I'm calling mine, is quick camp. Rest yourself. And of course, Holstein House Holstein House coffee mugs are over at the Etsy shop, and the link to the Etsy shop is in the description. In the script below. Oh, I've been all over the place. What time is it? Oh, we're just about to wind up, but it was so good to see you guys. I love having you stop in and chat with me, and I love hearing your comments. It does distract me a little bit, and that's okay. One thing I did want to there's not a whole lot after this that is new. There's not really anything new. One of the things that I'm really debating, especially with, so yesterday, some of you guys saw on some of my posts on Noster and in the group, or in the Telegram group, t.me/Holstein House group, or Holstein House chat. The link is in the description. That I said that there was a grenade thrown into my plans yesterday, and then I had a chat yesterday evening, unscheduled chat, just talking generically about what was going on. And I love my dad. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. He is still having trouble, we think, with a UTI. He called me Sunday evening and said, "Will you get a hold of the doctor's office in the morning? I want to go in and have another test." I don't think it's clearing up. So I did call. They said, bring him in. We were supposed to go in Thursday anyway. And she said, look, you want to just switch it to today? And I said, yeah, because I don't want to come up there twice. So we went, when you make walk-in appointment or walk-in visits with your doctor, and they're trying to fit you in, it means you're going to be there an hour or more. It's just crazy. So we got there. The appointment was 1:30. We didn't get seen till 2:45. And then you're in there, and he spends good time with you. I can't complain about that. But he told Dad, he said, based on the x-rays, some of you guys may remember that I took Dad for some x-rays of his back and his hip. And he talked like it was supposed to be common knowledge. It's the first I remember hearing about it. Now, maybe he did tell us, I don't know, but it's the first I remember. He said Dad's trouble with his hip is not actually the hip. there's a touch of arthritis in the hip, but the pain that's causing him not to want to walk around and the issue he's having with his legs feeling like they're weak is because of his spine. He said it was there the last time we looked at it. It's in his spine. It's causing him trouble. And my brain was boiling at that point. And I didn't lose my cool with the doctor, but I was upset, in my mind, because how long have we been dealing with this? And Dad having this back issue, and he keeps coming in saying his hip hurts, and the doctor gives him a whatever kind of shot. I'll say cortisone. I don't know if that's what it was or not, in the hip, and most of the time it doesn't help him. So he says, well, a rheumatologist won't do him any good because you're not talking about an inflammation. You're talking about bone on bone. So his vertebrae, and, he kind of pointed to where at in his lower back, it's bone on bone. I mean, most of us adults understand what that means. It's bone on bone, they're scrubbing and they're rubbing and they're pinching on those nerves, and that's what's causing his pain. And I said, okay, so how do we get him some relief from this? And my brain again is going, if we've known this, why have we been pissing around? I'm sorry, I shouldn't use that word, but and not addressing the problem. And he says, well, he can go to a spine specialist. He says, I can give him shots in the hips, but I can't do anything about his spine. And I said, well, let's do that then. Why don't we? I mean, I hate doing that because Dad's sitting there. I mean, it's him. He's able to make those decisions himself. So he's going to refer him to a spine doctor, the one that I saw here a while back, who I think I still owe money to. And he said his urine test doesn't show that he's got a urinary tract infection. But perhaps the antibiotics, since he hasn't completed it yet, has kept down the bacteria count, and so it just kind of looks that way, even though it's not completely resolved. We'll do another round of antibiotics. They're going to send the urine sample to the labs to test to make sure that the antibiotics that he gave him are the ones that will knock this out. If I don't hear from him today, I'm supposed to call him tomorrow, and then go pick it up and go through another course of antibiotics. And then Dad's got his heart cath is scheduled for the 28th, which is in a couple weeks. It's obviously at the end of the month, but it's in a couple weeks. And I don't know if that means he'll be overnight, because he's usually on blood thinners. He'll be off those for 3 or 4 days before, and then I don't remember last time if they kept him overnight. But I'm saying all that to say this. I don't know if I can keep up twice a week lives. It's really exhausting. I'm really exhausted. And I know it doesn't make sense on your end because you don't see everything else that I do all the time. Not that you need to. It's not an excuse. It's a statement of fact. And I have to decide I'm going to have to cut back something. The lives you would think that it's not a big deal, but you do have to get ready for them. And then when they're finished, if you're only broadcasting to YouTube, then there's no more to do it. I'm uploading to Rumble, and I'm splitting the audio to Fountain, and other ones. But it's really getting tough to carve out the time to do 2 lives. And I haven't uploaded a decent video in a while because I don't have time to do them. I need to get that done, but there's just so much going on with my responsibilities to the church, which requires me at the minimum 3 hours Sunday night to get the bulletin, to get the sermon, to get all that stuff put together, and then the time I'm at the church. Wednesday, tomorrow, we have our Bibles and brunch, and it's followed by our lunch and learn. Bibles and brunch, I have to put in a couple hours getting that put together, printing out the materials, the handouts, studying the chapter we're talking about making sure that the video that we're going to see is available and that we're on track. There's also the publicizing that stuff. I do the church's Facebook page, so I'm uploading it, I'm creating the events, I'm uploading the events, I'm uploading those, I'm making those little images um, through Canva. I'm creating those in Canva and I'm uploading those to Nextdoor. I'm uploading those to the different Facebook groups that the church should be, promoting things in. There's a lot to that, all that as well. Plus studying for my CLM, Certified Licensed Minister. Um, there's a lot to it. Running the house. One of my pet peeves is that people assume that running a household is no big deal. But if you to properly run a household takes a lot of work, takes a lot of planning, takes a lot of physical work, plus paying the bills and, just balancing the books on your own household takes a lot of work. So I'm just getting really, really exhausted. And I've been doing this almost a year, 2 videos a week for almost a year now. And I'm just really tired. I'm just really tired. So I'm trying to figure out all of that as well, because this is episode 97. Well, when I hit episode 104, that's going to be a year. Because there's 52 weeks in a year, 2 videos a week. So it's going to be it's just exhausting. It's just something I have to think about. I haven't decided for sure yet if I can work out a better schedule. I'll keep doing them, but just know that I'm starting to think about dialing that back to once a week. And there's a lot of people, but this isn't designed to be my income. I'm not doing a content creation thing for enough passive income that I don't have to work, or that Mr. Holstein doesn't have to work, or to sustain our lifestyle or anything. I'm doing this because I want to be able to share what I do, share my knowledge, share how I do it, bring some awareness to my B&B, some marketing, and maybe along the lines help people that are kind of in the same boat, maybe a few steps, a few league. No, I don't want to say leagues, because leagues in the nautical is like a mile or something in it. Just anyway, whatever a couple tenths of a league is going to be behind me, because they're not in the exact same boat. Mike says, Robin, you must be Jamaican. You have 10 jobs, man. Yes, well, I do. I do. It's crazy. You don't think about, people don't think about it. And when some of the more successful YouTubers, they have teams of people doing stuff. They have help in other areas. They have people who upload their videos, who split their videos, who do their shorts. And I don't mean shorts as in their underpants. I mean short videos who upload to their TikToks and what's that other one? I'm still on it. I haven't loaded anything to it. I can't remember what's it called? Clapper. TikToks and Clapper, and does all this. A young man asked me on the Telegram group about because I talked about using Noster. I said, you should run your own node. I don't have time to run my own node. I don't have time to run to the bathroom. That's not where my interests lie. They really don't. But I mean, I do enjoy the communities that I try to participate in. I don't get a lot of participation in because there's just so much going on. We have things that I have things that I don't always share. I mean, we have a rental house that we keep, it pays for itself. The lease is coming up due on it. It doesn't take time. You set it up and let it run. Geesh. Well, geesh, yeah, that it's not quite that easy. Makes it work better, I hear also. It's that simple when you have the time, the effort, the money, the equipment to do it. And I don't. It's not where my passion is. And then you have to worry about it every time the power blinks, and it's not something that I want to fool with right now. I don't need an additional thing. I really don't. So, and it's not for everybody, and we have to remember this, that what I'm comfortable with doing, other people may not be. I know there are some folks who are not comfortable um, with, with my involvement with my church. Not that they hate me or anything about it, but they don't live that way. So they get into these discussions about your God, your God, your God, and I'm like, it's okay. You don't have to be that way. Um, and there are people who think, well, why don't you get a? Here's a good example: people who want everybody to have freeze dryers for food. I don't have any desire to have a freeze dryer. I don't want to expend the energy to put it in. I don't need the extra extra breaker put in dedicated to it. I don't want to fool with changing the oil. I don't need to fool with, oh, but you can make candy and sell candy. It'll pay for yourself. I don't have time for that. I don't want to fool with that. If I want freeze-dried food, and I do have some freeze-dried food, I use Thrive. I'm a Thrive consultant. Not a good one at all, because you probably didn't even know that. But I buy Thrive brand freeze-dried foods, and I have a selection of those on hand that it's not worth my time and effort to fool with all of those things. I have calculated what my time is worth, and I sit back and think, okay, is it worth, let's just use the number 50. Let's say $50 an hour is what my time is worth. That's just generally anything, whether I'm doing laundry, whether I'm on this broadcast, whether I'm cooking dinner, whether I'm driving to pick up pizza, whatever, my time. I'm not, it would be nonsensical for me to spend my time to do that when my time is better spent over here doing something else. And I just I don't have the desire to do it. And I'm, not going to apologize for that. It's not, I don't have any desire to run a node. I am on Noster. I'm okay with that. I have a little bit of Bitcoin Satoshis. I'm okay with that. That's not me. That's not my life. And so that's where I am. Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. But I've been on over an hour now, about an hour and 10 minutes, about an hour and 12 minutes. And so I've got to get this, the audio split. I've got to get it uploaded to Podbean to forward to the other podcasting applications. I've got just a lot to do, and I've even got to finish my handouts for the. I wanted to show you this real quick though, for the workshop tomorrow. So I've got about 6 different vintage pressure cookers, pressure canners. This is one that Mr. Holstein found for me that does have a part missing. It's not complete, but it is like tremendously ancient. We did look it up. Everything we find says it's a pressure canner. But I'm going to tell you, this little baby right here won't hold very many jars of anything. This latch here, I'm going to twist the top, and it's going to loosen that latch. And if I can show you this, all right, so let me get this. Not quite yet. And you have to do this while it's hot. So you get your food canned, right? Then you've got to spin that out of the way. You've got to tip this into the container and out to get to your jars. So this thing it goes down about yay far in order to tip it to get it up out of there. And we've got part of a rack in there, so it does have the rack in there. But you wouldn't be able to get, I don't know, 5 jelly jars in there, maybe 6 jelly jars in there. You wouldn't be able to get them out for the lid. So I'm not sure exactly who designed this, there's no maker on it anymore. So to put the lid back, I'm sorry, I'm making so much noise for those of you back in the podcast. You've got to tip that lid down in there and then get it back lined up. It's insane. I thought it was an autoclave. Then we looked it up. I thought, well, it may be a pressure cooker, but it can't be a canner because how in the world would you? It's crazy. So I don't know. Oops, come on, you. There we go. So I don't know. Plus, how hot this thing's gonna be. It's insane. But I have a bunch of these, and I'll be. I got to pack them up. I was gonna take my truck, but the battery's dead. And I could jump the battery or something, but I don't know that it's worth all that. I can load all of them up in the car and take them over to the church. But that's part of what I'm going to be doing tomorrow on the workshop, is to show a bunch of these vintage canners and have some handouts and have some lunch, and it's going to be a great day. So I'm going to go. I thank you for joining, stopping by. I thank you, Ronaldo, for taking some time to stick your head in this morning. I know you stay busy and it's hard, and you tend to listen more than participate, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate all of you guys that listen to the podcasts or even watch the videos on replay. I just wish you would say hello. Just tell me you're out there. It's so hard to know. I mean, I can see, the viewers, the views that the videos have, and that's great too, but I don't know who you are if you don't tell me. So I'm going to call it. I'm going to go, and I do appreciate you guys, and thank you for stopping by. We'll do it again Friday morning at 10 or 1400 UTC. I had somebody say you need to put the UTC out there so that people know. So I did. So UTC is 1400 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm going to go. I thank you so much again for being here, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. So there you have it. Post your comments, do all that boosting, liking, sharing, thumbs up, and stuff that helps spread the word and poke the algorithms. Follow me on most of the big social media platforms and look for my name, Robin Holstein, or Holstein House. Till next time, bye-bye.